Alright guys, so as you might remember, in the previous video we have done the register user function over here. So right now we are about to do the login function. So we still passing that parameter of con into it, defining the function as login. So what we'll do is while true, so this will initiate a loop. That is what we would like to do. So this try block, it means that it will do these statements first, or this piece of code it will execute first. So what are we doing? In line 50 we are connecting to the database SQLite3.connect command, and we're connecting to the users database. So what we're doing next is we are inputting a question to the user. We are querying something from the user, and that is enter username. So in the next line they do happen to type in a no value, or they happen to press enter, print you have entered no username. We have an else if statement here. It will say username.lower equal to exit. So this dot lower will just capture everything that the user types and put it in lowercase, and if it's compared to exit, it will exit the program completely. Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to essentially connect to the database, and then once the user types in the username, it will capture the username. So this is where the execute command comes in for SQL. Select username from users where username, and we pass in the username variable that we're asking the user. And if it happens to be that the username has been found, it will print username found in database using the cursor.fetch1 SQL command. Else it will print no username has been found. And then continuing, what we want to do next is we want to prompt the user to enter their password. So we'll use again the execute function. Then we'll say select password from users table where username is situated at the user variable that we're asking the user, which would be then the username. So what we're doing here, we are then creating another variable with cursor.fetch1, and we're saying if hash password row, which is this variable here, we want to ask them for their password. Obviously with securing that password, we don't get to see the user typing their password. So then we use another if statement. So we will use another if statement. Within that if statement over here, and we are going to check that password. So whatever the user has typed in, it will basically be stored in the row 0. So that means whatever the user types into it, and if it matches with this one, it will then say print login successful, and the code then will pause for 2.5 seconds. Then it will print welcome username to the Python's creators app. Then it will close the database connection. It will have a 2-second delay before it continues to the next section, and if it does continue to the next section, it will go into our function or func.main menu. We'll unpack that later. Else if the password is incorrect, it will then print invalid password. Else if the username is not found, it will then handle that as it should be, or as it should. And then this code block over here will just handle any SQLite3 errors that might occur. So if we have to then utilize this login function on its own, we'll then comment this out. What we'll do is we'll just pass it as a normal function, not defining it, just passing it with con, right? And if we do run it, to ask a username. So I've already registered, username found with password, login successful, and then that is what prints welcome JF to the Python creators app, and this is what we'll be coding next. Please choose which application you want to run: calculators, app opener, time capture, maths and games, and these two are locked for further unpacking. Obviously an exit function as well. So at the end of this SQL registration and login process, we then going to then comment this out and say that one, we're gonna enable this one. So to actually connect to the database, because as you see here, we never defined any, or we never not defined, we never used any functions at this moment until line 102. We're connecting to the user's database on line 102. Next line will be, we want to use the create users table. We want to create a table. So we are then utilizing the function. Next, what we want to do is we want to then display the register and login function. How are we going to do that? We're defining the function which is called register login, right? We're asking the user input of, would you like to register a login? We will then like to do a loop over that section. So while user selection in list, so these two will then handle what we are looking for from the user. The next line is if statement. If user selection compared to register, it will run the register user function over here. Else if the user selects login, it will then action the login function. But however, while the user does not select register login, it will then rerun itself. It will rerun this whole function again. And this is how the code will look if we do run it. So we can say register. It's type in the username of Python. Alright. Code. Password, we'll type a password in. Register successful, and then we'll do login. Then we'll say Python code, and then we'll just type in the password, login successful. And with that, we will carry on to the next section where we had imported the function file, and then we'll carry on with this in the next episode. Thank you for watching.